All right, so are you ready? Let's dive deep into something we're all swimming in every day: the social impact of popular media. And listen, we're not just talking your typical movies and TV shows here. We're going all in. The whole enchilada music, TikTok trends, even those memes you share without even thinking.
It's true. We just consume media all day, every single day, but we rarely ever stop and think about how much it's shaping us, connecting us, and yeah, sometimes just completely confusing us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Remember back in the day when you had to coordinate with the whole family to watch ER, make sure the phone line was free. TV was like a family event.
Oh, yeah.
But now, well, let's just say things are a bit different. Our sources actually point out something pretty wild. 80% of Americans watch TV every day. And that's not even counting all the other ways we're taking in media these days.
Wow. Yeah, that really highlights how much things have changed. We've gone from appointment, television, Friends, Simpsons. You had to be there right when it was on, to now where it's like this on-demand content buffet. We've got streaming services, podcasts, social media feeds curated just for us.
Oh, absolutely. Though I will admit, I've definitely fallen prey to those YouTube rabbit holes. You start with a video about, I don't know, baking sourdough, right? And next thing you know, you're watching a documentary about the history of bread making. It's a slippery slope.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Yes.
But that's algorithms for you. They're designed to keep you engaged.
Huh.
And how do they do that? Well, they analyze your viewing habits and feed you similar content. And it can create this feedback loop where you're mostly exposed to stuff that just reinforces what you already think. We call those echo chambers.
Echo chambers, huh? So it's almost like everyone's living in their own little media bubble these days. Is that kind of isolation doing us more harm than good?
Well, research shows that encountering different viewpoints,
Yeah.
even ones you disagree with, can actually make your own arguments stronger.
Yeah.
And, broaden your understanding of things.
Mm-hmm.
But these echo chambers, well, they can kind of cut us off from that, It can make it harder to have productive conversations and just see the world from other people's perspectives.
Yeah, it's almost like we're losing that ability to have healthy debates. Okay, let's shift gears for a sec. I'm curious about this whole idea that superficial media can still have a deeper meaning. Our sources mention memes as an example, like social commentary disguised as humor.
Yeah, totally. Think about it. You see a funny cat meme and you get a chuckle. But underneath that, there might be a subtle critique of society, politics, or even our relationship with technology.
That's really interesting. It's a clever way to slip in social commentary under the radar. We're laughing, but we're also absorbing these messages.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to a fascinating point about media's power. The power to shape our values and norms as a society,
It's funny you say that because when I think about shows like The Simpsons or like Black Mirror, which, wow, it's pretty clear they're holding up a mirror to society. The Simpsons makes us laugh at ourselves, and Black Mirror maybe makes us squirm a little as we think about the dark side of technology and all that.
Right. And what's so brilliant about satire, especially in a show like The Simpsons, which, let's be honest, has been running forever, is its ability to, change with the times. It constantly makes fun of our cultural landscape, however it is at the time. Remember that one episode way back when where they made fun of mobile phones? That was in 2005, long before smartphones took over our lives.
Wow, yeah. And Black Mirror, with all its dystopian stuff, sometimes it feels like they're predicting the future. Makes you wonder if the writers are, time travelers or something.
Yeah, maybe. Both shows really demonstrate is that media can not just reflect our reality, but spark conversations about the future, about the choices we make and what might happen because of them.
Yeah, like they're giving us a sneak peek and saying, hey, be careful what you choose.
Exactly. And then there's reality TV, which, gets a bad rap for being shallow. But shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or The Bachelor, I mean, come on, they're undeniably influential, especially when it comes to how we see beauty, relationships, even success.
Oh, I'll admit, I've been sucked into a Bachelor marathon or two, for sure. But it is fascinating to think about how these shows, even though they seem lighthearted, can really reinforce certain expectations,
Exactly. Our sources actually make a good point. They argue that reality TV can affect how we view all sorts of things, from what a perfect relationship should look like to chasing fame and fortune.
Makes you wonder if those picture-perfect edited versions of reality are actually doing more harm than good, especially for younger viewers who might, be more impressionable. But hey, let's not be all doom and gloom. Media isn't always a bad thing, right?
No, absolutely not. We got to acknowledge the good stuff too,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to representation and social awareness.
Yeah, for sure. We are seeing way more diversity in movies and TV these days, which is really encouraging, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've really made an effort to introduce characters from all different backgrounds.
And shows like Pose, focusing on the LGBTQ plus community. They've been amazing in terms of giving a voice to groups who haven't always been heard and showcasing their stories authentically.
That kind of representation is crucial, not just for building empathy and understanding between different groups, but for challenging our own biases and seeing the world in new ways.
It's like media can connect us to experiences and perspectives we wouldn't normally encounter. And hey, we can't forget about viral trends and raising awareness. The Ice Bucket Challenge comes to mind. It went viral a few years back and raised millions for ALS research.
Right. It was the perfect example of how media, especially social media, can be used for good. It brought people together, got them talking, and inspired action on a huge scale.
It's amazing how media can amplify messages and actually make change happen in the real world. Speaking of the future, though, our sources hinted at some pretty wild possibilities coming up, like AI creating content, virtual reality, immersive experiences. Where do you see all this going?
Well, it's exciting, I'll tell you that. But it's also a little daunting. We're basically on the edge of a media revolution. Imagine a world where storytelling is truly interactive. You're not just watching, you're actually part of the story.
Wow, interactive storytelling, that's a game changer. And what about this whole AI-driven social media thing? Could we be talking to fictional characters in real time someday?
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
And it brings up some pretty big questions, right? Where's the line between real and fake? What happens to our sense of self when we're always interacting with AI? AI that feels so real.
It's both exciting and kind of scary to think about. The future of media is definitely going to be a wild ride. Okay, before we wrap up, let's take a minute to go over the key takeaways from our deep dive so far.
All right, so we started by talking about how media is everywhere in our lives and how it's changed so much from appointment TV to this on-demand world we live in now.
We also talked about how media, no matter the form, from cartoons to reality shows, can reflect and shape our values and what we want in life.
We discussed the downsides, like echo chambers limiting our perspectives.
But we also highlighted how powerful media can be for good, especially when it comes to promoting representation and awareness, even inspiring people to take action.
Yeah, and all this tech stuff we were just talking about, it's a lot to think about for sure.
It really is. But with all this talk about algorithms and all these new technologies, we can't forget one really important thing. Media is made by people just like us.
Oh, that's a good point. It's easy to think of media as this big, powerful thing that's out of our control. But at the end of the day, it's a reflection of people, their creativity, and sometimes even their flaws.
Exactly. And that's actually pretty empowering when you think about it.
Right.
Because it means we have a choice. We're not just sitting here watching. We can shape what media looks like.
Okay, so if we don't like what we're seeing, or we're worried about these echo chambers, what can we actually do about it?
Well, it starts with being aware of what we're consuming. Like really paying attention to the content, the sources, the algorithms that are feeding us stuff. So less mindless scrolling and more actually choosing what we let into our minds.
Exactly. And if we want to see more diversity, more representation in media, we got to support creators from different backgrounds, seek out their stories, share them, and make it clear that we want that kind of content.
That makes sense. Like the more we engage with stuff that aligns with our values, the more the industry gets the message.
Right, exactly. And just as important, we need to improve our media literacy skills. Basically, understanding how media works, how it's made, how it gets to us, recognizing biases, and being able to really think critically about the messages we see every day.
So it's like having a toolkit for navigating all this media, right? We need to be asking those tough questions. Who made this? What's their goal? How's this affecting how I see the world?
Those are the questions, yeah. Media literacy isn't just about avoiding being tricked. It's about giving ourselves the power to shape the media we consume and the stories that you're told.
Okay, so to everyone listening, here's a challenge. Next time you're scrolling through social media, watching TV, or listening to a podcast, take a second and really think about it. Ask those questions, challenge what you think, look for different perspectives.
Yeah, because media isn't just entertainment. It's a powerful force. It shapes our world, our relationships, even how we see ourselves. And if we understand that power, we can use it for good. We can push for positive change, build empathy, and create a society that's more informed and fair.
Wow, what a powerful way to think about it. We've covered so much today, from how we consume media to AI and the future of storytelling. But the main thing I hope you take away from all this is that you have the power to be a conscious, critical, and engaged media consumer.
Don't just let the algorithms run the show. Be curious, be skeptical, and most importantly, be a part of shaping the future of media.
Perfectly said. And with that, we'll leave you to think about all this. Keep exploring this crazy world of media, and we'll catch you next time. And we even touched on the future a bit, with AI, VR, all that. It's mind-blowing to think about where things could go.
It really is. But, with all this talk about algorithms and the future of media, we got to remember the human element. Media, at the end of the day, it's made by people.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. It's easy to get caught up in the tech side of things. But yeah, it all comes back to human creativity, ingenuity.
Exactly. And when you realize that, it's kind of empowering, isn't it? We're not just passive consumers here. We have a say in this.
So if we're not happy with what we're seeing, like the lack of diversity, the echo chambers, what can we actually do to change things?
Well, first off, we got to be more aware of what we're consuming. Think about the content, the sources, even those algorithms. Are they really showing us what we want to see?
So less mindless scrolling, more mindful choices.
Exactly. And if we want to see more diversity, more representation, we got to support creators from underrepresented groups. Seek out their stories, share them, and show the industry what we really want.
Right. That's like voting with our attention, right?
Exactly. The more we engage with content that reflects our values, the more the industry will take notice. But just as important, we need to boost our media literacy skills.
Okay, so what does that even mean?
Basically, understanding how media works, from creation to distribution, recognizing biases, being able to analyze the messages we're bombarded with every single day.
So like having a toolkit to navigate the media landscape, right? Being
Yeah.
able to ask those critical questions. Who made this? Why? What's the impact on me?
Exactly. Media literacy isn't just about avoiding manipulation or misinformation. It's about giving ourselves the power to shape the media landscape and the stories that get told.
So for everyone listening, here's a little challenge for you. Next time you're on social media, watching a show, or even listening to a podcast, just take a moment to pause and really think. Ask yourself those critical questions. Challenge your own assumptions. Seek out different perspectives.
Because media isn't just entertainment, it's a force. It shapes our world, our relationships, how we see ourselves. But if we understand its power, we can use it for good, promote positive change, build empathy, create a more informed and equitable society.
Wow, what an amazing way to wrap up our deep dive. We covered so much today, from how we consume media to the future of storytelling and AI. But if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's that you have the power to be a conscious, critical, and engaged media consumer.
Don't just let the algorithms run the show. Be curious, be skeptical, and most importantly, be an active participant in shaping the future of media.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today. Keep those big questions in mind. Keep exploring this ever-changing world of media. And until next time, happy listening.